Captain Ryan Carter stepped into the grand meeting hall aboard the United Earth Fleet's flagship. The room was massive, with a long table at the center, surrounded by seats. Alien diplomats and human officers filled the space, their voices low, their faces tense. The air carried a sense of urgency. This was not just any meeting. Ryan walked with confidence, his boots echoing against the polished metal floor. His sharp eyes scanned the room, looking for an empty seat. His unit had just come back from a brutal mission, and he was tired. All he wanted was to sit down, listen to the briefing, and get this over with. Then he saw it, a single empty chair near the center of the table. It was perfect. Without a second thought, he moved towards it. But just as he reached out to pull the chair back, a hand slammed against his chest, stopping him in place. Ryan looked up, startled. The hand belonged to Xylar, a tall, blue-skinned alien officer from the Zorvac species. His narrow eyes were glowing faintly, and his expression was unreadable. He was blocking the seat. Ryan frowned. Problem. Xylar didn't move. He stood like a statue, his hand still against Ryan's chest. The other aliens around the table went silent. Even the human officers nearby stopped talking, their eyes shifting toward the confrontation. Ryan glanced around. This wasn't normal. Aliens and humans had worked together for years, but this was different. There was something strange in Xylar's stance. It wasn't aggression. It wasn't arrogance. It was fear. Ryan let out a short laugh. What, is this your special chair or something? Xylar shook his head slowly. For your safety, do not sit. A few humans chuckled, but Ryan didn't. His instincts, honed from years on the battlefield, told him something was off. He wasn't the kind of man to back down from a challenge, but this wasn't a fight. It felt like a warning. Ryan crossed his arms. Why? Xylar didn't answer. Instead, he looked to the other aliens in the room. Their faces were tense, their bodies stiff. Some exchanged glances, as if waiting for someone to speak. Finally, an older alien with deep scars on his face leaned forward. His voice was rough, as if he had seen too many battles. The last being who sat in that chair never stood up again. The room fell into silence. Ryan stared at the old alien, waiting for him to continue, but he said nothing more. The way he spoke, the way his eyes darkened, it wasn't a joke. It wasn't superstition. He believed it. Ryan turned back to Xylar. You're serious? Xylar gave a slow nod. Yes. A younger soldier from Ryan's unit let out a chuckle. Come on, it's just a chair. You aliens sure love your ghost stories. Another soldier smirked. What happens if he sits? Does a monster pop out? Ryan wasn't so sure. He looked at the chair again. It looked completely normal, made of smooth black metal, like every other chair in the room. There were no glowing symbols, no sharp edges, nothing that screamed danger. And yet, the way the aliens looked at it, the way Xylar had moved to stop him, it wasn't a joke to them. Ryan reached for the chair again, testing the waters. Xylar's muscles tensed, his breathing slowed. Every alien in the room shifted uncomfortably. Ryan hesitated. He had seen men walk into traps before. They had ignored warnings, thinking they knew better. Some had laughed at the enemy's tricks, right before stepping on a landmine. Was this the same? Or was it all some strange alien superstition? Ryan pulled his hand back. Explain. Xylar looked relieved but still wary. He glanced at the old alien, who gave a short nod. Xylar took a deep breath. The chair is not what it seems. His voice was quiet, but there was weight in his words. It is not empty. It is waiting. Ryan's jaw tightened. Waiting for what? Xylar's eyes met his, and for the first time, there was something almost human in them. For you. A chill ran down Ryan's spine. He had fought in wars, faced death more times than he could count. But this was something different. The other soldiers in the room weren't laughing anymore. The air had changed. The silence was heavier. Ryan took a step back. The chair was still there, still harmless looking. But now it felt like something else. Something alive. His instincts screamed at him to stay away. For the first time, in a long time, Captain Ryan Carter decided to listen. Ryan took a slow step back, his mind racing. The air in the room felt heavy, thick with an unspoken tension. He had been in countless battles, seen men and aliens alike die in brutal ways, but never had he felt this kind of unease over something as simple as a chair. Scylla remained still, watching him closely, as if expecting him to push the matter further. But Ryan wasn't stupid. He had learned to trust his instincts, and every part of him was telling him that something about this situation was very, very wrong. The younger soldier from Ryan's unit, a cocky recruit named Daniels, still didn't seem convinced. He stepped forward, shaking his head with a smirk. "Come on, this is ridiculous. It's just a damn chair." He reached out, fingers just inches away from touching the armrest. Tyler moved so fast it was almost a blur. His three-fingered hand clamped around Daniel's wrist, holding it just above the chair. His grip was firm, but not aggressive, more like a desperate attempt to stop something terrible from happening. Daniels yanked his arm back, glaring. "What the hell, man?" Tyler exhaled slowly, as if trying to find the right words. The other aliens in the room exchanged glances, but no one spoke. It was clear they were all uneasy, but none of them seemed willing to explain. Ryan stepped forward, his voice low but commanding. "Enough. Someone better start talking." The old alien general from before, the one with the deep scars on his face, finally broke the silence. His voice was rough, weary. "That chair is not a normal seat." Ryan folded his arms. "Yeah, I figured that much. What exactly is it?" The old alien's eyes darkened. "It is a relic, a mistake from the past." A ripple of unease passed through the aliens in the room. Even Sylar looked uncomfortable. Daniel scoffed. "You're acting like it's alive or something." No one laughed. The old alien's voice dropped even lower. "In a way, it is." Ryan narrowed his eyes. "Explain." Tyler took a step closer to the chair, but he didn't touch it. He stared at it, as if looking at something only he could see. This chair was created centuries ago, long before humans and Zorvax ever met. It was meant to be a throne for a ruler of an empire that no longer exists. Daniel snorted. "What, some kind of cursed king's chair?" Zylar ignored him. "The material it was made from is not natural. It was harvested from a world that no longer exists." Ryan's instincts flared again. What happened to that world? Zylar hesitated. The old alien general was the one who answered. "It was consumed." The silence in the room deepened. Ryan frowned. Consumed by what? The general's gaze locked onto the chair, by something we did not understand. A shiver ran down Ryan's spine. He had fought in wars, faced enemies far stronger and more advanced than humans. But this was something different. He looked at the chair again. It looked completely normal, just polished black metal, simple, unassuming. And yet, the way the aliens reacted to it, the fear in their eyes, he had learned to trust fear. Fear meant danger. Stylar continued, his voice quiet. "The first time someone sat in it, nothing happened. Not right away. It waited." Daniels rolled his eyes. Waited for what? Zylar met his gaze. For the chair to accept them. Ryan didn't like where this was going. And if it doesn't accept them? Zylar's face darkened. They disappear. The words hung in the air like a blade waiting to drop. Daniels laughed, but it was forced now. "You mean it kills them?" The old general shook his head. "No, there is no body, no blood, no trace." He tapped the table lightly. One moment, they are there. The next, they are not. Daniels opened his mouth to argue, but Ryan held up a hand, silencing him. He turned to Xylar. You've seen this happen. Xylar nodded. Once. A long time ago. Ryan studied him carefully. Xylar was a soldier like him. He had fought in wars, seen death. But there was something in his eyes now, a shadow of something deeper. Not just fear. Regret. Ryan exhaled through his nose. He didn't believe in ghost stories, but he did believe in warnings. He looked at the chair one last time. It sat there, motionless, silent, innocent, but somehow it felt like it was watching, like it was waiting. Ryan took a step back. Noted. Xylar relaxed slightly. Daniel still looked skeptical, but he didn't try to touch the chair again. The other humans in the room shifted uneasily, their amusement gone. The briefing continued, but the atmosphere had changed. The chair remained untouched, but now, everyone in the room was aware of it. Ryan didn't take his eyes off it. He had a feeling this wasn't over. Ryan couldn't shake the feeling that the chair was watching him. It was ridiculous. An inanimate object shouldn't be able to do anything. And yet the way the aliens reacted, the fear in their voices, the way even the battle-hardened Xylar hesitated to speak about it, none of it sat right with him. The meeting continued, but Ryan barely listened. The alien diplomats spoke in hushed voices about trade agreements, territorial disputes, and future alliances. Normally, he would have been paying close attention, but his mind was stuck on the chair. It sat there, silent and unmoving, but the room felt different now. The air was heavier, as if the chair itself was shifting the atmosphere. Daniels, still unimpressed by the story, leaned over and whispered, "You really buying this crap?" Ryan didn't answer right away. He wasn't sure what he believed. Daniel smirked. "I bet you 20 credits it's just some dumb alien legend." Ryan turned to him, his expression unreadable. "You willing to test that theory?" Daniels hesitated. His bravado flickered for just a second before he leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. "Whatever. It's just a chair." Ryan had seen this kind of behavior before. When soldiers didn't understand a threat, they either treated it as a joke or ignored it entirely. That kind of thinking got people killed. The old alien general, sitting across the table, spoke again, his voice low. "Do not underestimate it." Daniel scoffed. "What is it going to get up and chase us?" Xylar's eyes stayed fixed on the chair. "It does not need to move. It only needs you to sit." Ryan exhaled slowly. The way they spoke about it, it wasn't just a dangerous object to them. It was something worse, something alive. Another officer, a human named Lieutenant Avery, cleared her throat. "If it's so dangerous, why not destroy it?" The room fell silent again. Xylar finally turned his gaze toward her. "Because we have tried." Avery frowned. "And?" The old general sighed. "Weapons do nothing. We have fired plasma rounds, explosives, even antimatter charges. The chair remains." Ryan's fingers tapped against the table. "Then why keep it here? Why not throw it into a sun, dump it into deep space?" Xylar's jaw tightened. "We have tried that too." A heavy pause followed. Ryan's eyes narrowed. "And?" Xylar hesitated, then said, "It always returns." A chill ran down Ryan's spine. The other humans in the room shifted uneasily. This wasn't just an object that was dangerous. This was something that refused to be destroyed. Daniels let out a nervous laugh. "So what? It's haunted." The old general shook his head. "Not haunted. Hungry." The word settled in the air like a lead weight. Ryan didn't believe in ghosts, curses, or any of that nonsense, but he did believe in patterns. And right now, the pattern was clear. This chair was not something to be taken lightly. His mind raced. If everything they said was true, then that meant the chair wasn't just dangerous. It was beyond their understanding. A weapon, a trap, a relic of some forgotten war. Whatever it was, it didn't belong here. Xylar finally spoke again. "You asked why I stopped you." He turned to face Ryan directly. "Now you know." Ryan held his gaze. Xylar wasn't someone who scared easily. The fact that he had reacted so strongly meant there was more to this than they were being told. Ryan leaned back, crossing his arms. If we can't destroy it, then what's the plan? The old general's face darkened. We don't have one. That was the worst answer Ryan could have imagined. For years, humans had fought to prove their strength in the galaxy. They had taken on threats that others had feared, faced enemies that were stronger, faster, more advanced. But this wasn't an enemy they could fight. It wasn't an enemy at all. It was something worse. Daniel shifted in his chair. Okay, look, this is creepy as hell, but what if it's just some kind of advanced alien tech? Maybe it's a teleporter or some weird energy field. Zyler shook his head. We have studied it for generations. There is no technology, no power source, no known material composition. Ryan frowned. Then what the hell is it? Zyler's expression didn't change. A mistake. Ryan didn't like that answer. The room fell silent again. Outside the ship, the vastness of space stretched endlessly, stars blinking in the void. But inside this room, inside this ship, there was something else. Something waiting. Ryan had no intention of giving it what it wanted. The silence in the room stretched uncomfortably. Even the hum of the ship's systems, usually a quiet background noise, seemed muted, as if the entire vessel was holding its breath. The chair sat there, motionless and unremarkable, yet it held the attention of everyone in the room like a black hole pulling everything toward it. Ryan wasn't the type to fear the unknown. He had faced horrors on battlefields across the galaxy, monstrous alien creatures, merciless warlords, and the endless void of space itself. But this was different. This wasn't a war. This wasn't an enemy he could fight. Daniels, still clinging to his bravado, exhaled sharply. You're telling me this thing can't be destroyed, can't be moved, and people just vanish when they sit in it. Sounds like a load of crap. Zyler's gaze didn't waver. I did not ask you to believe. I only ask you to listen. Ryan studied the alien officer. There was no arrogance in his voice, no attempt at manipulation. He truly believed what he was saying. Ryan tapped his fingers against the table. How many? Zyler blinked. What? Ryan gestured toward the chair. How many people have disappeared? Zyler didn't answer right away. His hesitation spoke volumes. The old alien general finally spoke. Too many. Ryan didn't like vague answers. I need a number. The old general exhaled. 47. The humans in the room tensed. Daniel's smirk finally faded. Avery, who had remained quiet up until now, rubbed her temple. 47 people sat in that chair and disappeared. Zyler nodded. That we know of. Ryan's stomach twisted slightly. That wasn't just an accident. That was a pattern. A terrifying, undeniable pattern. Daniel scoffed, but this time there was a nervous edge to his voice, and no one thought to put up a damn sign. Zyler's expression darkened. Many times, the signs disappear, just as the people do. A chill ran through the room. Ryan leaned forward, elbows on the table. So what happens next? You just leave it here. The old general's face hardened. We keep watch. We warn, and we pray that no one else is foolish enough to test it. Daniels let out a shaky breath. So what? We just avoid it forever? There's gotta be a way to beat this thing. Zyler's voice was low. You assume it can be beaten. Ryan's jaw tightened. He hated that answer. The ship's intercom crackled suddenly, making everyone jump slightly. Attention, all personnel. Prepare for warp jump in 10 minutes. Secure all stations. The announcement did nothing to break the tension in the room. Ryan glanced at the chair one last time. It looked no different than before. It hadn't moved, hadn't made a sound. And yet it felt like it had won something. Zyler turned toward him. You understand now, don't you? Ryan didn't answer right away. He did understand. That chair wasn't just a cursed object. It wasn't just some ancient alien relic. It was something more. something patient, something that had been here long before them, and would be here long after they were gone. Ryan had spent his whole life fighting, but this was one battle he wasn't sure could ever be won, and that terrified him more than anything else. The uneasy silence in the room stretched long after the ship's intercom finished its announcement. The crew members were soldiers, diplomats, warriors who had seen countless battles, yet not a single one of them wanted to turn their back on that chair. Ryan clenched his jaw. He wasn't superstitious. He didn't believe in ghosts, curses, or unseen forces controlling fate. But this was different. There was too much fear in the room, and fear, real, deep-rooted fear, was something that only existed when there was a real threat. His instincts screamed at him to walk away. But Ryan had never been one to walk away from a mystery. He turned to Xylar. 47 people have disappeared. What about the ones who didn't? Xylar's expression was unreadable. None. Ryan frowned. No one's ever sat in that chair and lived. Xylar's voice was quiet. Not once. A cold knot formed in Ryan's stomach. 47 times someone had taken a seat. 47 times they had vanished without a trace. No signs of struggle, no distress signals, no bodies left behind. Just gone. Daniels ran a hand through his short-cropped hair, his earlier confidence completely gone now. Okay, so real talk. What if someone did sit in it, and nothing happened? Would that mean they, won? No one answered. Ryan had a different question. Has anyone ever watched someone disappear? Xylar exhaled slowly. Once. Every eye in the room locked onto him. Ryan leaned forward. What happened? Xylar hesitated. He looked at the old general, who gave him a small, reluctant nod. The alien officer turned back to Ryan. It was many years ago. A Zorvak scientist became obsessed with the chair. He believed it was not a weapon, but a gateway. Avery narrowed her eyes. A gateway to what? Xylar's voice remained cold. That is what he sought to discover. Ryan's fingers tapped against the table. So he sat in it. Xylar nodded. We had cameras on him. Scanners. Every piece of technology we had trained on that chair, waiting to see what would happen. Daniel's throat bobbed as he swallowed. And Xylar's expression darkened. 1 second, he was there. The next, he was not. Avery's voice was barely above a whisper. Nothing at all. No flash of light. No sound. Xylar shook his head. Nothing. Ryan felt a chill crawl up his spine. And the recordings. The old general answered this time. Corrupted. Ryan's head snapped toward him. All of them. The general gave a slow nod. Every device, every data log. As if he had never been there at all. A tense silence followed. Daniels rubbed his hands together. So, what if he's still alive? What if it really is a gateway? Xylar's gaze was unreadable. A gateway to where? No one had an answer to that. Ryan took a slow breath. The logical part of his brain fought against the idea, but he couldn't ignore the pattern. If this chair wasn't killing people, if it wasn't some kind of execution device, then there was only one other explanation. It was taking them somewhere. But where? The ship's intercom buzzed again. 5 minutes until warp jump. All personnel, secure your stations. Ryan exhaled. His gut told him that this wasn't over. And deep down, he knew something else. This chair wasn't waiting to be destroyed. It wasn't waiting to be locked away forever. It was waiting for the right person to sit in it. The ship trembled slightly as the engines powered up for the warp jump. A deep hum vibrated through the walls, a reminder that they were about to leave this sector of space behind. But no one in the room moved. All eyes remained fixed on the chair. Ryan's mind raced. He had faced the unknown before, but there was always something tangible to fight. An enemy, a battlefield, a mission. This was different. This was something beyond their understanding. And yet, a part of him itched to know more. The chair had been here for who knew how long. It had outlived wars, civilizations, even the limits of recorded history. It wasn't a weapon, not in the traditional sense. It wasn't a machine or a trap. It was something else entirely. A door, maybe. Or a test. Xyler folded his arms. "You're thinking about sitting in it." Ryan didn't deny it. Daniels let out a nervous laugh. "Oh, come on, man. I know you like pushing limits, but this is a terrible idea." Ryan turned toward the old general. "You've lost 47 people to this thing. Have you ever considered that they're not dead?" The general's expression was grim. "If they are alive, where are they?" Ryan didn't have an answer for that. Avery spoke up. "Let's say, for a second, that this is a gateway. We don't know what's on the other side. It could be another dimension, another planet, another." She stopped, swallowing hard. "It could be something worse." Xyler gave a slow nod. "That is why no one else has tested it." Ryan exhaled through his nose. He should walk away. Every logical part of his brain screamed at him to do so. But the other part, the part of him that had enlisted, the part that had taken on impossible odds and survived, told him something else. What if this was an opportunity? What if this chair wasn't just taking people? What if it was calling them? Ryan rolled his shoulders. One way to find out. Daniel's eyes widened. "Dude, no." Avery reached out. "Ryan." But he was already moving. A shudder passed through the ship as the warp drive prepared to engage. The overhead lights flickered for half a second. The air itself felt electric, as if the ship could sense what was about to happen. Ryan stepped toward the chair. He could feel his pulse hammering in his ears. Every step felt heavier, like the air was pressing down on him. But he didn't stop. He reached out, brushing his fingertips against the armrest. The metal was smooth, ordinary, completely unremarkable. And yet, every instinct in his body told him that this was it. He inhaled sharply and sat down. For a single frozen moment, nothing happened. Then, the world vanished. No sound, no movement, no transition. 1 second, Ryan was in the ship. The next, he wasn't. It wasn't like falling. It wasn't like teleportation. It was as if the universe had blinked, and he had been rewritten into a new existence. Darkness surrounded him. Cold, but not physical cold. Something deeper, something that touched his mind more than his body. He tried to move, but there was no sense of up or down, no gravity, no weight. Then suddenly, a light. A voice. Not spoken, not heard. Felt. "You have come." Ryan's heart pounded. He opened his mouth to speak, but there was no air, no sound. The presence continued. "We have waited." Ryan forced himself to stay calm. He had no idea where he was, what was happening, but he had come here for answers. And now he was going to get them. Ryan floated in the void, weightless and breathless, yet still alive. His body should have panicked. His brain should have screamed that he needed air, that he needed gravity, that he needed something solid beneath his feet. But none of that happened. Instead, he simply was. The presence in the darkness surrounded him, not in a physical way, but in a way that pressed against his thoughts, as if something vast and ancient was peering into the deepest corners of his mind. "You are different." The words weren't heard, yet he understood them. They weren't spoken, yet they echoed through his very being. Ryan steadied himself, or at least he tried to. "Who are you?" His voice didn't exist here, but the question formed in his mind, and the presence seemed to hear it. "We are beyond names. We are beyond form. We are the threshold between what was and what will be." Ryan's pulse quickened. "Where am I?" The darkness shifted, and suddenly he saw planets, stars. Entire galaxies flickered past his vision like pages of a book being turned at impossible speed. He saw civilizations rise and fall, wars fought in distant systems, beings that defied everything he knew about physics and biology. And then he saw them. the ones who had sat in the chair before him. Dozens of figures, human and alien alike, frozen in the void, suspended between existence and something else. Their bodies remained intact, their expressions eerily calm, as if they were waiting. Ryan's chest tightened. What happened to them? They are chosen, like you. He gritted his teeth. Chosen for what? The presence didn't answer with words this time. Instead, the universe bent. Ryan's vision exploded with images, knowledge pouring into him at a rate no human mind should have been able to handle. He saw a great war, one that had not yet begun, but would shake the fabric of reality itself. He saw a force beyond anything he had ever encountered, something vast and consuming, something that devoured entire civilizations as if they were mere sparks in the wind. And he saw the chair, not as an object, not as a trap, as a test, a filter. Only those who were strong enough, who were willing to face the unknown, who chose to step forward despite their fear, only they were brought here. Ryan's stomach turned. You're recruiting. The presence pulsed. We are preparing. He looked at the frozen figures around him. And them. Are they alive? They are waiting. A thought formed in Ryan's mind, one he didn't like. Am I waiting too? Silence. Ryan clenched his fists. No, he wasn't going to just be here. He wasn't going to be frozen in place like the others. If this was a war, if something was coming, then he needed to move. He focused, forcing his will against the suffocating void. Send me back. The presence hesitated. You are not ready. Ryan bared his teeth. Then make me ready. But send me back. The void shuddered. For the first time, he felt resistance, as if the presence itself was struggling to contain him. He pushed harder. A sound, not a word, but something ancient and powerful, rippled through the darkness. And then, light, heat, gravity. Ryan gasped, his lungs filling with air. He was back. He blinked rapidly, adjusting to the bright lights above him. The ship's war room, the chair beneath him. His own hands, trembling but real. Gasps filled the room. Someone cursed loudly. Daniel's voice broke through the chaos. Holy shit, he's back. Avery was already at his side, checking his pulse. Ryan, can you hear me? Are you okay? Ryan took a deep breath, grounding himself. He could still feel it. The presence, the weight of what he had seen. But he was here. He turned to the old general, whose face was a mask of shock. Ryan's voice was steady. We need to talk.